Welcome to Week 1. In addition to the guidance offered in my introductory video, I'd like to share some additional advice specific to this course. There's a good deal of additional reading, so make sure you stay ahead to prevent any issues as we move through the course. Now, for those who have completed other 8-week courses, you know how quickly time will go. I also encourage you to don't get overwhelmed. There's a lot of additional reading. I tried to keep it relevant to what we're talking about. There's a little bit of heavy theory in some parts of it. Don't get bogged down by that. Just pull out those parts of the theory that will help you in your studies and help you demonstrate understanding of the course-related principles that are important for this course. And then take the parts that speak to your understanding of what you want to get out of the course and use them in your discussion posts and, of course, all of your assignments. Now, this week you'll be reading 2 chapters from each of our texts, along with 2 additional articles from peer-reviewed publications. We'll start with Hackman and Johnson, chapters 1 and 2. Just a few things I pulled out of here for you. There's a little discussion about leaders versus managers in chapter 1, beginning on page 13. Don't get too hung up on those differences. I teach another leadership course where we delve into the intricacies of a leader versus a manager. But for our purposes, we're going to focus primarily on leadership and more specifically strategic communication that leaders should use. Also keep in mind that they're both necessary for an organization to succeed. But again, we're going to focus primarily on leadership in this course. Now in chapter 2, our authors describe 4 of the most significant attempts to identify the communication pattern of leaders. These include the Michigan Leadership Study. Of course, Ohio State has to have their own study. McGregor's Theory X and Theory Y, and then Blake and McCann's Leadership Grid. You'll find those on pages 49 through 55. Now, these different studies have some differences, but they also have a lot in common. I generally try to just look at it this way. All the leadership studies basically explore the differences between people or leaders who focus on people and leaders who focus on production. Okay, so as you read those studies, think about how they fall into those two different areas of emphasis. I also encourage you to take the followership style self-assessment, which is found on page 58 of our primary text. All right, moving on to our next additional reading. This is Mayfield and Milton. We introduced this collection of promising scholarship they talk about. They define leadership, which they describe using reflection. They share a vision for the special issues, which they describe as engaging, and they include a lot of different articles, basically reflecting, engaging, and then innovating about strategic communication and leadership. So kind of fascinating to look at all these different theories as well as articles that explore those theories as they relate to our subject matter. One of the things that I did pick up out of their article is that leadership communication is not static or originating from a single source. Instead, it is often fluid and dynamically shared among group members, depending upon the linguistics that evolve. Now, for me, this is key because you may have a leadership style that is consistent in one setting, but may not work or be effective at all in another setting. You may have a different leadership style based upon your followers. So when you think about that, it also spills over into our communication. So don't think you have to use the same leadership style communication for each of those settings, and hopefully you'll be able to explore that and all the facets of those differences as we move through the course. All right, moving on to our final additional reading. This is Ruler 2018. Talking about the modern strategy theory. And the idea is that we don't focus on strategic communication as one-way process, right? Instead, we look at the communication process that presents, promotes, and realizes organizational goals and strategy. We have to embrace this because the idea is that communication is a process. It's interactive by nature and must be participatory at all levels in order to be successful. Another note from Ruler is that the essence of strategic communication is being purposeful. In other words, in order to advance an organization's mission through communication, we have to be able to focus on the purpose of the communication. So when the communication helps move the organization mission forward in a helpful way, we can then speak of it as being strategic communication. With that, I'll leave you with the advice I always share. Stay ahead with your assignments, stay engaged in the discussion board, and most importantly, enjoy your time of learning.